Join us now in a moment of profound reverence, where heaven's voice meets the depths of our spirit. Chosen one. They're sitting in the ruins of their toxic relationship, watching everything come apart around them, while you're out here enjoying your best life, totally unbothered and thriving. Now that they've lost everything that could have been theirs in favor of cheap thrills and rapid gratification, they're stuck watching you thrive while their world falls apart. The terrible reality strikes them like a freight train. They prioritize convenience over progress and shortcuts over substance. And now you are living proof of what happens when you put yourself first, while they are paying the price. The instant you stopped caring about their opinion, something changed in the cosmic order. It wasn't the phony disinterest many display on social media, but rather the profound, cellular-level apathy that results from realizing your value. 3 revelations are currently taking place around you while you live in your newfound calm. Each one is a thread that is going to unveil a pattern so flawless it will astound you. The first is the unseen admirer who has been quietly observing your change. They witness how you handle situations that would ordinarily make others go crazy, how you uphold your morals while others lower theirs for momentary solace, and how you've learned to let go of the drama that once consumed you completely. What neither they nor you realize yet is that their fixation with your tranquility is recognition rather than merely adulation. They are ready to make a move that will completely alter their life, and they are seeing in you what they have been looking for throughout their lives. The one whose phony connection is disintegrating more quickly than a house of cards in a windstorm is the second revelation, the person caught in their own hell. They placed themselves into this predicament in an attempt to display their alleged desirability, to make you envious, and to show that they could move on. Their desperate attempt to outdo you has resulted in a jail so poisonous that it is practically ruining their lives. Every night they go to bed knowing they made the wrong decision, and every morning they wake up to issues that grow like cancer cells. The true revelation, however, is on the horizon. They're going to realize that you had nothing to do with their hell. Their refusal to complete the work you have been performing all along was the issue. In the third scenario, you, the selected one, are able to glide above everything with the elegance of someone who has finally figured out the game. Red flags are now visible in Technicolor because you've learned to fully trust your instincts. Energy vampires bounce off your boundaries like rubber balls hitting concrete because you've established them so firmly. You've developed such a strong sense of self-worth that you can't possibly accept anything less. Healing from the past was only one aspect of your path to peace. Another was being ready for the future. Your self-control has been legendary. You have chosen to remain celibate when others have been sleeping about, becoming enmeshed in pointless relationships, and losing themselves in partnerships that sap their energies. You've been quietly establishing your empire, concentrating on your objectives, and following your schedule with the commitment of someone who knows that sacrifice is necessary for success. Even if it would have been simpler to compromise, you have been fulfilling your commitments, keeping your word, and upholding your moral principles. Through seasons when others would have given up, the secret admirer has seen you keep this discipline. They have seen you reject opportunities that would have raised your standards, walk away from circumstances that offered short-term satisfaction but long-term regret, and repeatedly pick your own business over the competition, creating a stronghold of self-respect that attracts the right kind of person. $90 is a handkerchief for a mother's tear, a blanket for a homeless person, a prayer for a broken heart. However, your selectivity, rather than your unavailability, is what appeals to them the most. You are single because you won't settle for anyone, not because you can't find anyone. You are celibate because you recognize that your energy is sacred and should only be shared with someone who respects it, not because you are terrified of intimacy. You're not unbothered because you don't give a damn. Rather, you're unbothered because you care about yourself so much that the turmoil of other people can't disturb you. The secret admirer's desire has been raging due to this distinction. You've been showing them what it looks like to love yourself so deeply that you can only accept love that resonates with that frequency, day in and day out. They have been learning from your example, what it is to be whole on your own, and that the best relationships are made between two people who choose to be together even though they don't need each other. The cosmos itself has observed your degree of self-respect, your steadfast dedication to your own development, and your resolve to accept anything less than what you deserve. Every day, you've been passing exams that others fail. By showing that you won't put up with less, you've been establishing that you can handle more. By refusing to remain on the lower level, you've been demonstrating that you're prepared for the next one. The individual stuck in their toxic relationship is learning what happens when you make decisions based on your ego instead of your gut. Their pride has turned into their jail, yet they got into this mess because they wanted to prove to you that they could go on and that your decision to leave them didn't affect them. They started the connection to make you envious, but it has since turned into a cause of ongoing anxiety, financial hardship, and emotional weariness. Their partner is unappreciative, often griping about their lack of income, and rude about the assistance they obtain. In public, they act content, but in private, they harbor bitterness and resentment. They make sure their discontent is felt even when they don't express it out loud, because they feel entitled to more than they're receiving. This person has turned into everything the imprisoned person previously decried about needy relationships, but now they are forced to live with the results of their decision. Every financial decision becomes a point of contention for the trapped individual, placing them in a terrible situation. When their partner gets money, they seem to be appreciative, but when they believe no one is looking, they let their guard down. They'll make passive-aggressive remarks about how little this gets, count the dollars with a dejected look, or make up long, emotional tales about everything they still can't buy. It's never sufficient, and it's never valued enough to justify the cost. The trapped person can observe you leading a financially independent life, since no one is depleting your resources, and you are free to choose according to your own timetable, goals, and dreams. You may avoid the emotional manipulation that comes with providing financial assistance to an unappreciative partner. You don't have to consult anyone before making a purchase, and you don't have to defend your expenditures to someone who doesn't give anything. The contrast is killing them. Every time they give money they can't afford, every time they put their partner's demands ahead of their own, and every time they bite their tongue when they want to say something like, "Get a job," or "Be thankful for what you have." They are reminded of the harmony you've kept by staying out of these toxic relationships. They're discovering the hard way that your requirements weren't irrational. Rather, they were essential. The realization that will shake your world is that your path to peace has been about developing into the kind of person who can manage what lies ahead, not simply about yourself. The universe has been preparing you for something greater, something that calls for all of your resilience, all of your boundaries, and all of your self-worth lessons. Sending $45 is filled with love, like Jesus' last words on the cross. Forgive, for they know not what they do. It wasn't only about moving on from the past during your season of not caring about other people's chaos. It was also about preparing yourself for a future that may soon take unexpected turns. The secret admirer has been observing how you exhibit true strength. They have seen you leave behind circumstances that would have otherwise kept you stuck. They have seen you uphold your morals when others would have lowered them. And they have seen you deal gracefully with loneliness, rejection, and disappointment, never settling for less than you deserve in order to keep from being alone. Your selection, not your availability, has been your most alluring quality. They are most enthralled with your ability to negotiate life with such self-awareness. They have witnessed you dismiss opportunities that would jeopardize your tranquility, turn down invitations that don't fit with your ideals, and avoid engaging in discussions that deplete your energy. You've honed your discernment to the point where you can identify warning signs from a great distance, and you've established such distinct limits that others can quickly see where you stand. Your approach to conflict resolution has been noted by the secret admirer. Rather than becoming embroiled in arguments, you state your position once and then walk away. You enforce your boundaries rather than attempting to persuade others to respect them. And you don't need to explain yourself. Your actions speak for themselves. It has been like witnessing a masterclass in self-respect because of this degree of emotional maturity. They have seen you create a life so satisfying that it would have to be improved rather than complicated by the addition of another person. Your goals are clear. Your hobbies make you happy. Your work has purpose, and your friendships are sincere. Anyone who wants to be a part of your life would have to do something worthwhile rather than just turning up with issues that need to be resolved because you've laid such a strong foundation. You can find people who value truth over performance in the Obsidian Inner Order. We recognize the loneliness of seeing what others won't accept, the weariness of continual social translation, and the relief of at last being accepted for who you truly are. We will never give up on you, let you go through this epiphany by yourself, or treat your longing for genuine connection as if it were mere content. We connect from areas of actual truth, communicate without scripts, and appear without masks in the Obsidian Inner Order. You are no longer need to pretend. You are not required to perform. At last, you can just be. Click the link in the description to join the Obsidian Inner Order. What would happen if you and Stuffer Bodycordy? What happens if you and Stuffer Bodycordy? How would you feel if you were with Stuffer? What if you and Stuffer have a body white Cordy? How would you feel if you were with Stuffer? But what if you have a cord? What if you're a Cordy body? But what if you have a cord? Suppose you have a body Wi-Fi cord. Suppose you have a body Wi-Fi cord. Imagine if you were a YI cod. Imagine if you were a YI cod. How would you feel if you were a Cordy? How would you feel if you were a Cordy? How would you feel if you were a Cordy? What happens if you whop at Cody? What if you? The hidden admirer is aware that true love necessitates two entire people choosing to create something remarkable together rather than two broken people attempting to mend one another. They have been working on their own foundation to meet you as an equal rather than a project, preparing themselves to be worthy of what you have created. Instead of operating from a place of scarcity, you have been operating from one of abundance. You've been selective about who has access to your energy, while others have been frantic to be in any kind of relationship. You've been waiting for the entire dish, while others have been content to take crumbs. You've been at ease in your own company, creating a life so rewarding that anyone wishing to join it would have to contribute rather than cause issues, while others have been terrified of being alone. When you give $80, you extend a hand to heaven, and God fills it with miracles. It wasn't just about mending. It was about calibrating. It wasn't just about recovery. It was about preparation, which is why your time of being unbothered was so important. You learned something about your own strength from each person who attempted to drag you back into drama, but was unsuccessful. Every circumstance that used to set you off but no longer did was evidence of your development. You were drawing closer to the kind of love that would enrich rather than complicate your life. Every day you opted for calm over chaos. The financial crisis is rapidly approaching. Unexpected payments are mounting more quickly than they can handle, including unanticipated medical costs, car repairs they cannot afford, and rent increases that push their budget over its limit. Their partners' financial needs are rising at the same time that their capacity to supply them is declining. The financial difficulties are only the first of many issues that are being brought on by the stress and getting worse every day. Their mental health is being destroyed by the emotional toll of cohabitating with someone who doesn't value their sacrifices. They are suffering from anxiety, despair, and the ongoing weariness that comes with attempting to please an unsatisfactory person. Their partner's lack of thanks is heartbreaking, not just disappointing. Every attempt to strengthen the bond is disregarded or condemned. Every act of affection is greeted with apathy, and every sacrifice is taken for granted. The most terrible aspect is probably the social isolation. Despite warnings from friends and family about their partner's true personality, they have defended the relationship rather than critically analyzing it. They are now too proud to seek assistance, too ashamed to own their error, and too enmeshed in the illusion to confront reality. They are imprisoned not just by their partner's manipulation, but also by their own ego's inability to acknowledge their own error. This collapse is being watched with a mix of expectation and anguish by the hidden admirer. They're waiting for the time when they'll be able to do what they truly want, but they're sad to see someone ruin their life out of pride. They have been awaiting the ideal moment to strike, and that moment is drawing nearer than anyone can predict. However, you won't be impacted in the least by their demise. You won't feel fulfilled, validated, or even very motivated to destroy them. You have found something far more potent than the need for approval from others, the unwavering basis of your own self-worth. You can stop worrying about their problems, stop enjoying their drama, and stop caring about what they think about your life. With a mix of intrigue and resolve, the hidden admirer is keeping an eye on this development. They're observing the differences between people who make decisions based on wisdom and those who make decisions based on ego. They are seeing the organic results of living a genuine life, contrasted with the manufactured results of living a performance one. Through your example, they are learning what it means to be truly unbothered, not as a coping strategy, but as a state of being derived from sincere self-love and unwavering boundaries. Like you, they have been practicing turning down chances that don't fit with their principles. Like you, they have been establishing boundaries with those that deplete their vitality. Like you, they have been prioritizing quality over number in their interactions. They realize that in order to be worthy of your affection, one must become the type of person who resonates with you. The secret admirer has been researching your motivations in addition to your actions. They realize your standards aren't about being tough. They're about knowing your value. Your boundaries aren't about keeping people out. They're about keeping your peace. And your discipline isn't about restriction. It's about freedom. They now understand that finding someone who chooses you because you enrich their already satisfying life is the genuine definition of love, not because they need you. If you give $65, you start not just a project, but a story that changes destiny. 3 revelations start to come together as the finale approaches. The one who is stuck in their poisonous relationship is going to lose all they believed they desired. Their spouse is going to make their actual character known in ways that will make their objectives clear. The financial burden will soon become intolerable. The family turmoil is on the verge of erupting. The lies will soon come to light. The repercussions will soon be indisputable. The chance for your advancement is being created by their downfall. Whatever link the secret admirer may have had to the mayhem is soon to be severed. The individual who has been observing you so intently is about to fully enter the light. They will no longer be constrained by allegiance to someone who never merited it or forced to stand by someone who never valued it. Meanwhile, the secret admirer is poised to make their move with the self-assured energy of someone who has done their own work, rather than the desperate energy of someone attempting to flee their difficulties. They have been observing how you chose yourself, uphold your standards, and refuse to accept anything less than what you deserve. They've learned from your example that true love is about 2 whole individuals deciding to make each other's already happy lives better, not about completing someone else or filling a void. The individual who has been caught up in the pandemonium is going to lose everything, even the admirer who has been waiting for you in secret. Everything you've done, including setting boundaries, upholding standards, and cultivating serenity, has been preparing you for this moment when true love shows up as a celebration of your past efforts rather than a rescue mission. As this happens, the person stuck in their toxic relationship will come to the heartbreaking understanding that they had all they needed to make the proper decision, but they let their pride to overcome their common sense. It will be too late, not because of timing, but because of character. But they will see what they could have had if they had been willing to put in the effort, grow, and make the decision to be authentic rather than performative. The climax comes with acknowledgement rather than drama or strife. The secret admirer comes forward to join you in wholeness rather than to relieve your loneliness. They have learned how to finish them on their own from your example, so they don't need you to do it for them. Since they can see you're not broken, they don't want to fix you. They have fallen in love with you for who you are, someone who prioritized self-respect over settling, sincerity over appearances, and calm over chaos. So they don't want to change you. This acknowledgement is instantaneous and reciprocal. Real love feels like this: calm, certain, and right rather than needy, urgent, or confusing. The relationship fosters harmony rather than drama. It addresses issues rather than creating them. It multiplies energy rather than depletes it. This is the prize for all of your self-control, limits, and instances when you made the decision to stand your ground when it would have been simpler to compromise. When you recognize someone else, it's like going home to yourself. There isn't any doubt about your abilities, concern about doing too much or too little, doubting your gut feelings, or sacrificing your morals. You see someone who has worked just as hard as you have, who has gained the same knowledge as you have, and who can appreciate what you have created because they have created something comparable. Speaking the same language, the language of self-respect, reciprocal appreciation, and sincere admiration, allows the conversation to flow naturally. Since they can see you're not broken, they don't try to fix you. They fell in love with you for who you are. Therefore, they don't try to change you. They understand that you are already whole. Therefore, they don't try to complete you. This is the kind of love that was worth waiting for, worth upholding your moral principles for, and worth not settling for less, because it is based on two individuals who have already done the work on themselves. It doesn't feel like effort, because it is founded on sincerity, respect, and true compatibility, rather than convenience, loneliness, or the desire to prove anything to someone else. It doesn't feel difficult. When you give $12, it is sacred enough to wipe away a pair of tears, because God makes the small big. This unfolds with a mixture of revelation and destruction for the person who has been stuck in their poisonous relationship. They at last realize what they sacrificed by taking the simple route, the one that offered instant satisfaction without taking the long-term effects into account, the road of least resistance. If they had the guts to carry out the work you've been doing all along, they would see what could have been theirs. It's character, not timing, that makes them realize this too late. They had the same chances as you to choose authenticity over appearances, truth over deceit, and progress over comfort. They had the same opportunity to cultivate the self-respect, limits, and discipline that make you unstoppable to the right person and totally unattainable to the wrong. It was always the decisions that made the difference, not the situation. The secret admirer is aware of this as, within their own context, they have been making similar decisions to yours. They have been creating their own standards, finding their own peace, and learning their own lessons about honesty, value, and the distinction between neediness and love. They approach you as someone who understands that you are their equal, match, and partner in creating something great, not as someone who needs saving or who is trying to save you. As the morning light that now shines on your face has the same quality as when this story started, but with a change, the circular structure completes itself. Even if it's the light of someone who has discovered how to fully love themselves, it's also the light of someone who has discovered what it means to be genuinely recognized and valued for who they are. The carefree energy that kept you safe during your growing phase has transformed into the self-assured energy of someone who recognizes their value and has met a partner who values it. The toxic relationships that taught you what you wouldn't tolerate, the time of solitude that taught you how to be whole on your own, the secret admirer who learned from your example how to prepare themselves for real love, the person who chose chaos over growth and is now dealing with the consequences. All of these things had to happen exactly as they did. You realize as the threads of your story come together to form their final pattern. Each thread was essential. Each pattern was flawless. You were ready for this acceptance of your value and the love that honors it at every turn. The metamorphosis is over, yet it's only the beginning. Your season of love is built upon the unperturbed energy that got you through your growing phase. The foundation of your time together is the tranquility you fostered while you were by yourself. You have drawn someone who easily satisfies your standards because you upheld them when it would have been simpler to make concessions. This is the story you have selected. This is your triumph. This is proof that sometimes losing what we believed we wanted in order to get what we truly deserve is the finest thing that can happen to us. The turmoil was your diversion, not your destination. The drama was your school, not your home. It was always your preparation, not your punishment. You now realize the profound truth that has been developing throughout this entire journey. You were never meant to be unbothered by their chaos. This is evident as you stand in the fullness of your transformation, embody the peace that others can only imagine, and live the authenticity that others can only pretend to have. You were supposed to be so rooted in your own tranquility that their upheaval doesn't matter. It was never intended for you to overcome their drama. It was intended for you to become so in tune with your own reality that you are immune to their drama. The circle is finished. The change is complete. By choosing oneself, the chosen one has made a decision for their future that reflects the respect, love, and gratitude they have learned to show to themselves. Greetings from your new home.